with a badge on. In any case, I want to welcome all of our guests, and I want to acknowledge certain folks. First, I want to acknowledge the sponsors of this wonderful event. Our platinum sponsors are Disneyland, Lily and Me, the Orange County Professional Firefighters Association, the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. I saw Bill. And Robbie Robinson. Our gold sponsors are Sonny Jensen. Pacific Life, a founding member of the Democratic Foundation of Orange County. Rich Meyer, who I saw here, there he is, right over there. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the IBEW. And Townsend Public Affairs. And friends who have helped sponsor the event are Wiley Aiken, Lauren Dahl, Carl Mars, Food Win, and the Honorable Jerry Patterson. I also want to welcome the members of the board of the board of directors of the Democratic Foundation of Orange County. Food Win, who is probably on the freeway right now. Carl Mars, right over there. Manny King, who is with food right now. Jennifer Keller, who is with the two of them, they'll be coming. The Honorable Jerry Patterson, the newly Honorable Jameson Bauer, and Chris Townsend, who I think is with Jennifer. We have many elected officials here tonight, 3 of whom are going to receive our coveted awards. One of whom will receive the first annual of one of those awards. But I do want to go through the list of the elected officials that we have with us. Of course, we have our insurance commissioner, Mr. Dave Jones. We have, sitting right next to me, Senator Lou Correa. And I see over there a fellow who's currently known as Senator, but will soon be known as Representative Alan Lowenthal. We have Jose Solario, who's our assembly member and soon be on the board of trustees of the Rancho Santiago Community College District. We have our county recorder, soon to be assembly member Tom Daly. We have the mayor of Fullerton, soon to be assemblywoman Sharon Quirk. A 2/3 majority Democratic majority. We have my city council Councilwoman Deborah Davella. We have Beth Crum. Irvine City Councilor. We have the current trustee of the Anaheim Union High School District and soon to be city council member from this city, Anaheim, Jordan Brandon. And from the Coast Community College District, Jim Moreno. The Honorable Jerry Patterson, well, not that Jim's not honorable too, but also from the Coast Community College District. And Lorraine Prinsky, who is right over there. And we have Assembly Member-elect Anthony Renman. Just a couple of bits of business. One, the meeting is now called to order. Two, I wanted to point out a boo-boo in our program. Beautiful program designed by Henry Vandermeer. Henry available for engagements, I suppose. I don't know. But the one thing that is missing is not Henry's fault. This was printed at a union shop, but it doesn't have the union bug on it, and that's their fault, Mara. Okay, just to let you know. I also wanted to point out that inside this program, you will see an exemplar of our Orange County voter guide. This went to over 144,000 Democrats here in Orange County. And the one that you have here shows all the people that we endorsed in all the 37 elections that it covered. But just know that when you receive this at your home, you didn't get all these people written down there. You got maybe 5 people written down there. So it was tailored for each of those 144,000 and change people for the elections in which they can vote. So that's what you have there. And many of the proceeds from this dinner went to the publication and distribution of that. So I thank you. All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to sit down for just a moment, and then I'm going to give the State of the Foundation address. Okay. But before I do that, when I was introducing the elected officials, I forgot my very good friend, one of our honorees tonight, Larry Agren. Larry, you're just always there, so what do I do? Anyway, so I'm going to sit down. Then I'm going to give the State of the Foundation address, and then we will proceed with the awards. So enjoy your soup. And see you in a little bit. While I'm here, I want to begin the awards. Except I don't know where they are. And let me tell you, every year it's the same program, so that there's continuity. But Lily picked these out, so they're really nice. And I'm going to start with the Wiley Aiken Award for Excellence in Leadership, and this is going to go to our fantastic insurance commissioner. The foundation's awards are not bestowed lightly. The first recipient of this award was Senator Dianne Feinstein. The second recipient was Assembly Speaker John Perez. And this year's recipient is in the same stratosphere of great leadership, and it is Insurance Commissioner Dave Jones. Leadership is in Dave's blood. He's been a leader throughout his life, and what he has done with that leadership distinguishes him as a great leader, as is the case with our past recipients. After graduating law school, Dave could have used his leadership and legal skills to go on and make a lot of money, but instead, he went to work for Legal Aid. And he helped those who needed the help the most, but could afford it the least. That's the kind of man that Dave Jones is. Dave went on to work in President Clinton's Justice Department, where he served as special assistant and counsel to Attorney General Janet Reno. And then it was onward to the Sacramento City Council, where he served that city with great distinction. Dave was elected to the State Assembly, where his leadership ability was quickly recognized, and where he chaired the Health Committee, the Assembly Judiciary Committee, the Budget Subcommittee on Health and Human Services. And Dave was awarded the Leadership Award by the Western Center on Law and Poverty. His work has been recognized by Planned Parenthood, Environment California, the Urban League, Preschool California, and now the Democratic Foundation of Orange County. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Insurance Commissioner Dave Jones. We're taking pictures.
Well, Dan, thank you for that very kind introduction, and I want to thank the Democratic Foundation of Orange County for this wonderful award. Wiley Aiken is a hero of mine, and someone who I think continues to inspire all of us with his leadership. Tremendous lawyer, one of the top 500 lawyers in America year after year, someone who served as the executive director and president of this august democratic institution for 17 years, was one of the architects of the great 1996 Loretta Sanchez victory over E1 Bob Dornan, and someone who continues to inspire all of us who work hard each and every day for democratic values. So it is really an honor to receive an award bearing Wiley Aiken's name. In fact, I remember being with you in 2009 when Wiley was being celebrated for his 17 years of leadership, and his talk at that time about the seminal role of his wife Benny and his family, his 3 kids and their 10 grandchildren, and his friends. With all of his accomplishments, at the center of Wiley's leadership, his family and friends, and I think that's a great inspiration for all of us. Now, I'm also particularly pleased to be here in the wake of this fantastic election. I don't know if you're like me, but I have recorded on my TiVo that extraordinary moment when Ohio was called, and Karl Rove, despite the math of even the analysts and statisticians and poll watchers at Fox, could not bring himself to recognize the reality of that math and to call that election. I watch that every night. And I'm going to keep watching that every night because it tells us something. It tells us that the math of inclusion, which is what you're about here at the Democratic Foundation of Orange County, the math of bringing people together inclusively to make positive change happen, will beat the math of exclusion, which is what the Republican Party has been about this last decade and certainly in this last election cycle. So it was a signature moment. And I am really delighted that not only have you here returned Linda Loretta Sanchez, but you've elected my friend and colleague and extraordinary California leader, Alan Lowenthal, to the United States Congress. And we are going to miss him in the Senate, but boy, he's going to set things afire in the United States Congress. And as well, my gosh, the election of Sharon Quirk Silva, an assembly seat that every pundit and predictor thought was not winnable. You rallied with her to put that seat in the Democratic column and to give the Democrats a 2/3 majority in the state assembly. With the election of Tom Daley, continuing to secure a seat that has been ably held by Jose Solario, we return an assembly Democratic caucus stronger than ever before. And it's great to see my friend Luke Graham you're honoring later on this evening, and appropriately so. He's been a fantastic leader for Orange County and for California. And we're delighted that we continue to have his leadership in the state Senate as well. And to all the other Democrats who were elected up and down the ticket, fantastic work, Democratic Foundation of Orange County. Now, let me just share with you for a moment what we've been up to as your insurance commissioner, working very, very hard to restore the Department of Insurance to what it was intended to be, which is the #1 consumer protection agency in California. Our principal work this past year has been to implement Obamacare. And we have moved forward in a way that other states have not. And let me just share with you a little story about a friend of mine named Paula Velasquez, who's 24 years of age. And she was diagnosed with a rare and fatal form of cancer 2 years ago. Now, she had insurance, unlike the 7 million other Californians who don't. But like many people with health insurance, she had a lifetime cap in benefits in her health insurance policy. And the chemotherapy treatment she needed to stay alive was costing $60,000 a pop or more. So she quickly hit that lifetime cap and would have been cut off from that insurance that she needed to beat back that cancer. But thanks to Obamacare, those lifetime caps are no more. They're eliminated. And Paula Velasquez got the care that she needed, beat her cancer remission, and she's a very active, very, very engaged, and very dynamic Democratic leader at the age of 24. So, just one of a series of immediate benefits from Obamacare. Parents get to keep their kids on their health insurance to age 26. Women are no longer a pre-existing condition, right? Women can have access to preventative health care that they didn't have before. We closed the donut hole that seniors fall into with the Medicare prescription drug benefit. The list goes on and on and on. And in 2014, we will have the opportunity to offer to Californians health insurance through Covered California, our new health benefits exchange. Think of this like Expedia or Kayak or Travelocity. When you go to the internet and you're trying to find the lowest cost airline ticket or hotel or other conveyance. That's how this will work. It'll be an online marketplace for health insurance. And by law, under Obamacare, and under our implementation of same here in California, the health insurers will have to provide a floor of benefits. They'll have to have standardized products that allow people to compare them on price. And the health benefits exchange will be negotiating with the carriers to try to get prices down. So, tremendous improvements. We also have the chance to add 1.9 million poor Californians to Medi-Cal and have the feds pick up 100% of that cost. So it's a big deal for us. But, and every moment is an organizing moment, so you'll forgive me if I take this award opportunity to organize. There is a missing piece of Obamacare, and it is the absence of direct authority to reject excessive health insurance and HMO rate hikes. Dianne Feinstein tried to get it into the federal legislation, but the Republicans rebuffed her. We don't have that authority here in California. Curiously, I have the authority, and have exercised it in the 18 months I've been your commissioner, to reject excessive auto insurance hikes, homeowners insurance hikes, property and casualty insurance hikes. I can report to you that I have saved businesses and consumers $740 million in premiums they would otherwise pay annually by exercising that authority. But not health insurance. But not health insurance. And so, over the course of the last year, I've worked with a consumer coalition We collected 800,000 signatures on a ballot measure petition, and we have qualified for the 2014 ballot, a ballot measure that would give the insurance commissioner the same authority that 35 other states have given their insurance commissioner, and that is the authority to reject excessive health insurance and HMO rate hikes. Now, will you help me pass that in 2014?
Yes.
I hope so, because I am fearful that despite all of the great benefits of Obamacare, the prices will continue to go up, and we need to fill that missing piece. So I'm deeply honored and touched to receive this award, to receive an award that you gave to John Pettis, our great speaker, to Dianne Feinstein, a fantastic United States Senator who's been a wonderful partner in our effort to try to get this initiative passed. He's the chair of the campaign. It's a great, great honor to be honored by you, the hardworking Democrats of Orange County. And I guess that brings me back to Wiley Aiken. Wiley Aiken and those of you here in Orange County have had a vision that we would have Democratic leadership throughout this county, a vision that you would not be deterred by the registration numbers or the negativity or all of the attacks that have gone on year after year. And I want to applaud you for that vision, because what you've built here is so incredibly important, both in Orange County and the state of California. So thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it.
I met Lou Correa and Dick O'Neill at about the same time. And I'm very proud that I was able to call both of them friends. And I'm even prouder that both of them called me a friend. Many days, often on the weekend, I'd call up Dick, and it was kind of like when you're a kid. You'd call and say, Dick, can you come out and play? And he'd say, oh, come on over. And so I'd come over, and oftentimes Lou would already be there playing. And our version of play would often involve deep political conversations, philosophical conversations, and conversations about service. Dick exemplified what service was. He lived a life of service. That's what he did. That's what he did. The previous recipients of the Richard J. O'Neill Award for Excellence in Service were Frank Barbero and our controller, John Chung, who I understand was a high school mate in Ohio of Dave Jones. Am I correct? Chicago. Well, it's my running mate. Running mate for you were running for student body president? Yeah. President? Chicago, not Ohio. It was east of the 5 somewhere. That's what So, in order to give this award, the Richard J. O'Neill Award for Excellence in Service, it has to be given to someone who is like Dick, whose life is also all about service. And it has to be given to someone who lives up to the ideals of Frank Barbero and of John Chung. And we found just the guy, and the guy with whom I used to play, along with Richard O'Neill at his house, and his name is Lou Correa. I just want to list something here. The following people, or the following entities, have designated Lou as, at one time or another, as Legislator of the Year. American Veterans of California, American Electronics Association, the Apartment Association of Orange County, Biocom, Boys and Girls Club of America, Orange County Council, California Association of County Veteran Service Officers, Inc., California Coalition of Nurse Practitioners, California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, California Atomic Eyes Association, California Senior Legislature, California Small Business Association, and California Small Business Roundtable, California State Firefighters Association, California Sexual Assault Investigators Association, Crime Victims United of California, Golden State Local Homeowners League, Peace Officers Research Association of California, the American Legion Department of California, Veterans of Foreign Wars Department of California, Vietnam Veterans of California of America, California State Council. So let me tell you, when we chose Lou to receive this award, we were kind of late in coming to the party, and I'm sorry about that. But nonetheless, we are here, and this award, the Richard J. O'Neill Award for Excellence in Service, is given to the person who we recognize as the person who exemplifies Dick's dedication to service. And this year, that is my friend, Senator Lou Correa. We're taking pictures.
Dan, thank you very much for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Dan another round of applause. What a great job he's done for all of us Democrats in Orange County. This is beautiful. Thank you very much. Dick O'Neill, Wiley Aiken, Howard Adler. My God, what did they start here in Orange County? Dick and Howard, I know you're with us in spirit today. And let me emphasize, underline the great successes here in Orange County. Because I remember when I first started running for office back in '95. I know some of you weren't born then, but I was definitely figuring out the landscape. And I'm looking out here at Ray Cordova, some of the folks there in the good old days. A lot of you were there. And I know all of us are right now thinking about supermajorities in the Assembly and the Senate, Democratic governor, but let me take you back to those mid-90s when we had a Republican governor, we had a Republican speaker, and we were one vote away from losing the majority in the Senate. Those were the days when our guys went into those back rooms in Sacramento to look at the numbers and try to figure out where they would invest the funds. Who would they invest in what races? In those days, Orange County, at the partisan level, state assembly, Congress, was 100% Republican. And anybody who dared to challenge that existence, that dynamic, it was considered a heresy. Yet the Democratic Foundation and many other Democrats stepped up and began to invest in some of those races. Some, of course, remember, Congresswoman Suches made it through. Okay? But what was most important about that was that with the investment, not only did the Democratic Foundation help those folks around the state get elected, but they also forced resources from around the state to come to Orange County to defend Republican incumbents so that others could get elected across the state. Let's give the Democratic Foundation a round of applause again for what you started. So here we are today, and Dan talked about those great statistics. What's going on in Orange County? 533,000, not enough. But let me share with you a little story. I live in Santa Ana, and for the first time ever, 2 of my boys got to vote. I actually took them out and I said, what are you going to register as? And they messed with me a little bit, and I said, don't do that, guys. You know where you need to go. And we sat down around the table and looked at the initiatives and looked at who they were going to vote for. And it was interesting because as we discussed the top of the ticket, the presidential, I tried to get him to debate Obama versus the other guys. And why? I mean, they were so focused on the Democratic ticket. I looked at it as you know, a case study here. These kids just turned 18 and they were so focused. And I think that's what's going on in Orange County today. As you look at these elections, my buddy over there, Sharon, congratulations, Alan. Okay? Tom, Jose. You can't help but say, what happened? What's going on across the state? And I think we have the right message. Now, with that message being said, I think back to Richard O'Neill, when I first started running. There's Anna Freeman, Dick O'Neill's right-hand person for how many years? For a long time. 33 years. And I remember in 95 that Dick came out and said, hey Lou, you're running for office here, why don't you use my office? Lou, you need a photocopier, why don't you use my photocopier? The guy was always there, helping each and every candidate that came his way. And I remember an election day in 96 when I was at my office walking precincts. I had just finished my second precinct and I was ready to go into the third one, and somebody called me, or actually they weren't on cell phones then, somebody called me in my office. I walked in and they told me, Dick O'Neill's walking the precinct for you. And I go out there and I find Dick. He's sweaty, tired, sitting on the curbside. Lou, let's go get one more. And Lou, let's pick up their stuff and leave our, no Dick, you can't touch their stuff. Just leave our stuff, say hello, do not pick up the other guy's stuff. But that was Richard O'Neill, always driven, always trying to get that last vote, and always trying to figure out how to get people elected. And by the way, Richard also was a businessman, a very good businessman. And if you ever read his resume, you'd say, this guy's a Republican, right? One of the biggest landowners in the state of California, with a heart bigger than big. Always ready, willing, and able to give to those that are less fortunate. And I've taken lessons from Dick. And I think all of us should as well, because now we are supermajorities in both houses. We have a Democratic governor. But with that also comes the responsibility of governing in the state of California. And yes, we got Prop 30 passed, and God almighty, I don't know how Jerry did it, but he did it. I remember hanging out with him at LA, Cal State LA, and having those rah-rah speeches, but man, I was looking at those numbers, and Dave, you're probably looking at them too, and saying, uh-oh, we got a problem here. Houston, we got a problem. We win by 8 points. We have a mandate now. The budget, as you hear, is more or less fixed. The state of California is still suffering from the third highest unemployment rate in this country. I live in Central Orange County, and I can tell you a lot of my constituents right now are still hurting for those jobs. I've got constituents that lost their job a year or two ago, and they've gone from a job with benefits, a job that provided them with a livable wage, and now they're making minimum wage. And they're happy. They're not satisfied, but they're back to work. So we've got challenges in front of us. It's up to us to fix that issue. And Tom and Sharon, we're going to have a good time in Sacramento. I have 2 years left. But the people have spoken loudly that they want us to fix the problems. Alan, my brother, you and I came into the assembly right about the same time. So you remember the good old days. Look forward to continuing to work with you. Isn't that great? A second congressman in Orange County. Third, that's right, third. So let me say that I'm honored to receive this award. Dick O'Neill, my very good friend. A man who shared a lot of his wisdom with me. A man who once told me a great story about how he got to become, the first time he became a delegate to the National Convention. Many, many years ago, he was on a train, because that's the way he used to travel then, from here to Chicago. And he was an alternate delegate then. And the delegate on the train, who had stayed up drinking all night, had alcohol poisoning. So in the morning when he got to Chicago, they called Dick and they said, Dick, you're a delegate today. And that's the way Dick got into politics full on. But I will tell you, there's a man of wisdom, there's a businessman, there's a Democrat, made it all happen. And we in Sacramento now have to make it happen, which is the business sector, labor, environmentalists, consumer attorneys, biotechs. We all have to make it work, because that is the mandate and that is the responsibility that is given to us by the great state of California. Dan, 530,000 and change ain't enough, brother. I got 2 more kids on the way to becoming 18. They will help the picture, but there are so many folks out there ready for your leadership to make sure that we're registered to vote. At the policy level, let me also give a quick update. I chair elections and reapportionment committee. We're looking at the issues of how to make it easier for folks to register to vote and how to vote. Part of our work was, you saw that register to vote through the internet. That was our handiwork. It worked. A lot of folks that were never registered to vote, registered to vote. Other issues that are coming our way, will absentee ballots be counted on election day? I don't know if you know it, but the U.S. Post Office, because of budgetary cutbacks, are closing down U.S. Post Office distribution centers. So what does that have to do with you voting by mail? Not good chance throughout the state of California. If you think you're sent in that vote by mail with plenty of time, it may not get there by election day, which means it will not get counted. So we're working on legislation to make sure, one of my pieces of legislation will be that if that piece of paper, that ballot is postmarked on election day, you have 6 more days. If it gets to the register of voters by the 6th day, after election day, it's still counted. We need to make sure that every registered American citizen that has the right to vote has their vote counted if they show up to vote on election day. We're going to be working on some initiatives also to reform the initiative process. Not quite sure what they're going to be looking like, but a lot of stuff is coming our way, and I suspect a lot of that is going to be about disclosure. Because a lot of the stuff that we vote on in those initiatives, there's just not enough disclosure. And the folks of the state of California need to know what exactly it is that they're voting for. The other committee that I chair, Veterans Affairs. California today is home to the biggest number of veterans in this country. And guess what? After the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, we're going to have the biggest number of veterans coming back to the state of California. And we better make sure we roll out the welcome mat to these folks, these good men and women. Many of them are citizen soldiers, National Guards, men and women who went overseas. Actually didn't know they were going to go overseas. Now a lot of them are doing 4 duties, 4 tours of duty. Our regulars coming back. Again, 3rd highest unemployment rate in the nation. What about those injuries a lot of these folks sustain in combat that are not physical, visibly physical? We got great community courts, so we make sure that these folks, if they get in trouble with the law because there's some issue that they had in combat, that they are adequately addressed and not just thrown in jail. Correct? Yes? What about education? All these cutbacks, put them in front of the line. Because they showed their respect to this country, and they, as volunteers or National Guardsmen, and women went up and fought. Now we got to take care of them. Yesterday I was speaking to a nurse, and she was telling me that there's all these veterans coming back that actually treated the wounded up combat. And all these medics are coming back trying to become medical technicians. And guess what? They don't have the training to get the California licenses to be medical technicians. And I bet you these folks have seen, heaven forbid, more injuries, more carnage than any other trained technician probably has ever seen at a college or university. And these folks can't get licensed to get a job. Oops, little details we got to take care of. So these are the things we're working on in the legislature today. If you all come up with any other good ones, you let me know. We're here to listen. I got 2 years left in the legislature, and I'm going to make them count. So again, Dan, thank you very much. On behalf of all these elected folks here, I thank you, the Democratic Foundation. I look again, Howard, Wiley, and Dick, and say, my God, what you guys started. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I wanted to give the next award to my good friend Larry Abram, but I thought it more appropriate that my good friend Jerry Patterson give that award, and you'll see why. So would you please welcome to the podium Coastal Community College trustee, retired United States Congressman, the Honorable Jerry Patterson.
Wow, this has been a great evening, hasn't it? I mean, I can't recall an election that has brought out such excitement. I don't know where you all were a couple weeks ago when the election took place, but I know where I was. I was scared to death. And I was like, oh my God, if Obama loses, and going all the way down to our Measure M, thinking maybe that wouldn't pass, Proposition 30, how we're going to educate students. All those things running through my mind. I was almost frozen to immobility. But I kept putting one foot in front of the other and waving signs and doing what I could. And I think all of you did the same thing. This is magnificent. I've been thinking of I've been in 22 elections personally since 1969. And I'm about due to retire from all that business, but there's something very exciting about the democratic process. I've listened carefully to each and every speaker here this evening, and I just want to say bravo and great, and isn't that wonderful? But my job tonight is not to be the speaker, but to be the introducer. And what I'd like to do is talk about the Howard Adler Award for Excellence in the Art and Science of Politics. I'm a politician, I guess, and I'm certainly a political scientist, and that's an argument that goes on a lot amongst us in that field. Is it an art, or is it a science? You're going to learn which it is this evening. I've thought about excellence a lot. What is excellence? Excellence. Is it perfection? I don't think so. Oftentimes we think excellence is perfection. No, I don't think so. I think that excellence is an attitude. It's a desire. It's a passion. And I have had a passion for politics all of my life, as has Larry Abram, as has Howard Adler, as has many instincts, as Sharon did, running an uphill battle where no one thought you would win in the very beginning, if you didn't think you'd win. If you didn't have the passion. She had it, she carried it all the way to the finish line, and she won. And we're so excited that that did happen. So excellence is that passion for, in this case, we're talking politics. Politics, what is politics to you? To me, politics is the excitement of combat. It's the excitement of a sport. I loved watching UCLA defeat USC. I was really into that one. So I was on my chair, then it was ready to throw me out of the house, but I couldn't contain myself. Politics is about the use of weapons of opposition. Weapons of opposition. And the weapons are ideas, not guns. The weapons you use in politics is to be able to articulate your ideas, either with scientific fact, maybe not exact science, or with an art, maybe not the most perfect art, but with an art. It takes both, really takes both. Because art is the philosophy, the strategy. It's exactly how and when to do that which you want to do. How and when to do it. Science, the science part of politics, is more the math, the behavioral, the computer, the spitting out the numbers, the figuring it all out, where you go, that sort of thing. And it is the behavioral side of what will people do if. So the science and the art are mixed in politics and in political science. And this is why it was real easy for us to name this award after just a couple of minutes of, well, is this going to be about the art of politics or the science? We all agree it's both. It's the art and the science of politics. And then, of course, Howard Adams' name came right to the forefront, as has Howard Dick O'Neill's and Wiley Aikman's done. Howard Adler and I began as adversaries. I was running against him for a congressional seat in the House. And we liked each other, and yet we found ourselves running against one another in a race. And it's no fun. Running against somebody you don't like Chris Norby, for example. That's a pleasure. But running against Howard Adler was not fun. And we sat down and we agreed on ground rules. We would not tear down each other's signs, nor allow our campaign workers to do that. We would not do certain things. We would do certain things. We'd be respectful. And the day after the election, Howard Adler and I met for breakfast right here. Not this hotel, but right down the street in another hotel for breakfast. And it so happened that I won. I probably shouldn't have, but I did win. And Howard was there right on time. And we had breakfast, and we kind of cried and laughed and wondered and all kinds of things. And Howard had a list of people he'd raised money for. He handed it to me that morning. And he says, I'm on your campaign now. I'll be with you. And he was with me forever from that time. For every election, Howard Adler was with me. That's the kind of gentle giant in the Democratic circles that Howard Adler was. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Anaheim, graduated from California State University of Long Beach with a bachelor's degree in political science, thank you. And he was president of the student body the year that he graduated. Howard began his career just a year later. He started out as the special assistants, a congressional aide and then a special assistant for Congressman Richard T. Hanna. Congressman Hanna was the only congressman we had in Orange County at that time, and a third of his district was in the area probably represented by Alan Lowenthal now, because it was in Long Beach and Los Angeles County. But that's where we got our first foothold on our race. 45 years, Howard continued to work in the Orange County Democratic Party. He raised money for the party. He served as chair several times of the Democratic Party. He helped many candidates personally get elected, including me. He also was one of the three major founders of our organization, the Democratic Foundation of Orange County. And the other two were Richard O'Neill and Wiley Hayden. So Howard was there. I mean, he was there for 45 years. Of him, two other giants in the Democratic Party here in Orange County have said this. Frank Barbero, chair of the Orange County Democratic Party, said, Howard Adler was a man, a kind and gentle man, who never wavered in his belief in and work for the common man and woman, the common ideals of the Democratic Party. Howard could make anybody become a Democrat if he had enough time. I think all of Orange County, just in listening to his power of reasoning, we said, well, you're right about that. Yeah, we should have health care. What's wrong with that? Yeah, we could even call it Obamacare, or we could call it the Affordable Care. He had the power of reason, and it changed people from being hardline Republicans to understanding individuals. What is happening with the common people? What is happening with the working class of this county? Another giant in the field, Wiley Aitken, who we heard about. Now, he was past chair of our foundation. There's the Democratic Party, Orange County, Democratic Foundation of Orange County. And Wiley said that Howard Adler was one of the class acts of all time that he has met. And along with Richard O'Neill, was the heart and soul of the Democratic Party in Orange County for many years. Amen to that. That is so true. And I just wondered, I got here maybe a little late. Is Louise Adler here? I didn't see her. Is Louise? Louise is not here. She indicated she'd be here. Louise, Howard's wife, quite a woman in her own right, and just a wonderful person. And I know that she worked in Sharon's campaign, among others. Perhaps was not able to make it, but I know that she appreciates the fact that the foundation has named this award after Howard. So, where do we go from here? Well, we go from the foundation, Democratic Party, creating awards for people who are exceptional, to giving our first one ever tonight. And couldn't happen to a person more deserving than Larry Avery. And I used to get pissed off at Larry, and it was because he could be so damn liberal here in Orange County, and I had to play middle of the road conservative or I wouldn't get reelected, you know? So he knows this, and we're kidding. But I always thought, here's a guy who is what he is, who believes what he believes, and he doesn't care what other people think. He's going to do the right thing. It was an easy and natural choice for our board. The board met, and we were trying to think, okay, who do we do this award to? It's got to be somebody really special. And I must give credit to Dan Jacobson, our great chair of the foundation, for putting Larry's name out there. And I'll tell you, it clicked right away in my mind, and I know that of others. And here's why. To get the Howard Adler Award for Excellence in the Arts and Science of Politics, you gotta be special. You gotta be really, really special. Okay, let's take Larry's education. It's kind of mediocre, but probably worth it. Let's see, went to that university up north, University of California, Berkeley. My wife went there too, so I love Berkeley. I went to UCLA, but you know. UC Berkeley, one of the greatest institutions in the United States. He received his bachelor's degree there. No, not just in one area, but in history and in economics. So he got, oh gosh, that made me president. I asked him to call. Yes, let's see. Hello? Oh yes, Mr. President. Yes, we're here with the Democratic Foundation. Well, you know, we're honoring Larry Abrams. You know, he ran in 1992 against, who's that other guy? Bill Clinton. That's right. But he didn't run against you. He's been really supportive of him. I think you should make an appointment for him in the field. He's very, very well. And I'll give you his name in just a minute. Thank you. Okay. Well, that was a nice thing. Nice little call. Timing is everything. Okay, after UC Berkeley, what could you do to top that? Well, he had to go to Harvard Law School, and by the way, he was Phi Beta Kappa at UC Berkeley. I came close to that at UCLA about, well, no, I didn't. Actually, and he got honors from Harvard Law School as well. His choice in universities and fields of studies and honors received by him demonstrate his passion, excellence, passion for something. He had a passion. He has a passion. And demonstrates that. The additional fact that Larry's self-selected, I looked at his own bio. What does he call himself? The first word in terms of occupation, he uses politician. I love that. Oh, you. Okay. No, Mom, I got it the first time. Thanks. Okay. Here we go. This is a mistake. Anyway, he, well, that threw me off. Okay, I didn't expect 2 phone calls. Maybe Jerry Brown. Yeah, I should have answered it. Okay. Politician, you know, people always say that to me. They've always said it to everybody who's been elected, and all those who just got elected the first time, they'll say, oh, you're a politician. Yeah. But, you know, Larry says, and I say it sometimes, yeah, I'm a politician. I like to talk public policy. I like to do the right thing. I like to do good things for the community. Politician is a good word. I used to say, well, I'm kind of close to a politician, but I call myself a statesman. Doesn't have the same ring to it, I don't think. So he has a passion for politics, and he's willing to call himself not only probably the best educated guy in the room, in a lot of other places, but he's a politician and proud of it, self-selected, among other things he could say. Some people argue at length whether, you know, politics. It's, you know, I've never been able to master it. Is my grandson here? My grandson, take this damn thing. Well, I did. Okay, it's all. Okay. It's hard for grandpas to do that. closing in. Yeah. Okay. I believe that Larry's lifelong journey proves a great truth, and that is that politics is both an art and a science. Witness is, of course. Larry has been embroiled in local politics in Orange County ever since I can remember, going back to 1979. He's used progressive ideas to engage in the exciting combat of politics. He's won some and he's lost some, but he keeps getting back into the game. As Teddy Roosevelt said about the man in the arena, keeps getting back into the game. And he hasn't really stepped out of the game. He even ran for president of the United States, as I mentioned. 1992, had some great ideas on what to do about 4 cities. And just look at, I think the crowning glory is a great park. You could hear a story about the great park for the next hour, but I won't do that. Maybe Larry will. It's a huge, huge victory for the people of Orange County. Huge. The great park is a great park. People, they wanted an airport there, big business. Other people wanted other things. Everybody said, no, you can never put a park there. It costs too much money. But he kept his sight and vision on the great park. In this achievement, Larry Agron used all of his skill, all of the arguments of ideas that he has. He joined various divergent factions who weren't necessarily his friends, but he made them a part of the process so that between all of them, they could actually make the great park happen, because he had the ability to figure out what it takes to put together a diverse coalition to accomplish a great goal. With the, I really doubt if anyone else. Right. He's got it. Larry, come on.
All right,
Larry,
thanks, Gary.
I got them ready for you. They're all
Please give a big hand to Jerry Patterson. I know his remarks were heartfelt. And I particularly appreciated Jerry for going way back. I remember the days when I was railing against you, and why weren't you more liberal on this, and why don't you do that, and so forth. Not quite appreciating the fact that you were in the district in the heart of Orange County that was probably one of the hardest districts for a Democrat to hold in the United States of America. And you did hold it for enough years to make huge contributions there and to pave the way for what is now a clearly Democratic district. Loretta Sanchez, others will follow her because of your pioneering hard work. Thank you very much. A lot of what Jerry said resonated with me regarding Howard, and I'm going to come back to that because our relationship with Howard sort of tracks. You started out as an adversary in political combat. In some ways, I I was an adversary of his as well. But both of us had tremendous respect for what it was that he brought to the process. And to receive this award tonight, the first Howard Adler Award, is especially meaningful to me. You know, for many, many years I've been in politics here in Orange County, going back to the 1970s. And I don't think I got any awards until the last 5 years or so, the last 4 years. I got the Truman Award, long overdue, I might add. Thanks to Beth Cron, my colleague, who said it's time to give Larry the Truman Award. Then the Young Democrats gave me an award, I think it was last year. I was very proud to receive that. And then I got word from Dan Jacobson that this award had been created and I was to be the first recipient. So that's 3 wonderful awards in fairly close succession, which has me a little worried. You know, next come the Lifetime Achievement Awards, and then the doctor's diagnosis that it's about over, and then you're out. But I am so delighted to receive this award, be able to say a few things about Howard Adler and the Democrats here in Orange County. I want to recognize a few folks and just thank them publicly. I've thanked them privately many times over, but Dan Jacobson has done a wonderful job with the foundation. I want another round of applause. I want to recognize, because I don't want to leave him out of it, but up and back has been Henry Vandermeer. Henry, where are you? Step back. There you go. Henry was also field director for us in Irvine, but has done wonderful things with the foundation, the nuts and bolts of politics. He's a part of our political family. I also want to thank my Irvine friends and other friends who are here tonight to join me in this joyous moment. I wanted to especially recognize my wife Phyllis, who has been so supportive over the years. She's a leading pediatrician in Orange County, fighting on behalf of kids and practicing privately, doing all kinds of wonderful things, but she always makes time to be supportive of me and my political ventures. And those of us who are in politics know you can't really do it without family support and encouragement, especially when the going gets tough. My granddaughter is here, Morgan Elizabeth Agron. Morgan, stand up. We were talking a little earlier, have a seat, we were talking a little earlier about, she's very interested in politics. If she could get near this microphone, she'd grab it and be talking to you. And we asked her earlier about registering Democratic, and so she said no, she thought she probably would register decline to state. Decline to state, why would you do that? Well, because, don't you remember, Grandpa, when you were running for president in 1992, the Democratic Party had you arrested in New York City? Why would I want to be in a party like that? You know? So, well, that was New York, it was a different time. You can be in the Democratic Party. And if you are, we'll lower the voting age to your age 10. Let me say something too about our Irvine political family. I want those of you who have been involved in Irvine races, and most notably this recent one, to raise your hands, because you're my friends, you're my pals, you're my support. Beth, you, all of you, thank you for all that you do to make politics not only tolerable, but sometimes joyful in the city of Irvine. I wanted especially to recognize my remaining colleague on the Irvine City Council, Beth Cron. You know, Beth has been in the fight with us since the year 2000, actually a little before that, but that she actually ran for council in 2000, changed that council from a reactionary, not a conservative council, but a kind of a know-nothing, incompetent, dangerous city council, helped us change it into, I wouldn't say a democratic city council because we respect nonpartisanship at the local level, but into a progressive city council ready to chart a visionary course for the city. Beth made that possible by getting elected then, by sticking throughout with the fight, by running for office, second only to me in the number of times that she has had to run for public office. Of course, ran for Congress, was willing to get in that arena in 2010, was willing after that setback, and of course setbacks in private life as well, and all the burdens that all of us face, was willing to run again in 2012, and was the highest vote getter among those seeking city council in this recent November election. And she is signed up and ready to go for another 4 years to see to it that the Irvine City Council and the city of Irvine are in the progressive forefront. So please, one more round of applause. I also want to recognize one of our running mates in this last November's election, PK Wan. PK, would you stand up? I feel a heavy burden. If I had managed to win for mayor, that would have created an opportunity, and I think the reality that PK would have made it. As it was, he fell short, just a few thousand votes out of some 75 or 80,000 votes cast. But that he offered himself as a candidate. He's chair of our Senior Citizens Council, but he's a very youthful senior, certainly more youthful than I am. He is a member of the Finance Commission. He is a young retiree devoted full-time to civic engagement and civic involvement. I have no doubt he's going to be a candidate again for City Council, and we're going to turn things around in Irvine. You know, it was funny because in so many respects, the November 6th election was a wonderful election at the national level, the state level. And as things began to unfold in the afternoon from the East Coast and moving west and so forth, I thought, well, wow, by the time we get to California, things are really going to be good, as they were in California. And in the city of Irvine, I thought, notwithstanding a lot of problems, we were going to pull it out and hold our majority. Well, of course, it wasn't meant to be, but we did do a lot. We laid down the milestones, the yardstick by which the future city council is going to be measured. And I think in so doing, we've set a very, very high standard. We also managed to get passed on the ballot, was known probably only to people in the city of Irvine, but Measure BB, which we put on the ballot, which actually will transfer over the next 3 years $15 million from the city to our school district to stop the bleeding, stop the hurting of our kids. That was successful. We got 70% for that. So I look at the campaign, I look back on it, and I say, well, PK ran a strong race, Beth got reelected, we got Measure BB, we're setting the standard very, very high, and we're going to continue to move forward. Every campaign, even those that you lose, should have embedded within it the seeds of victory to come. I wanted also to say something because there's still a number of people who are state legislators, are going to be back to Sacramento, or going up there for the first time. I'm going to say something to you that may be a little uncomfortable. One of the reasons we put Measure BB on the ballot was because what has been going on in the way of state cuts to education is absolutely unconscionable. Unconscionable. And to my Democratic friends who now have a 2/3 majority, thank goodness Proposition 30 passed. But you know what? Sacramento has done tremendous damage to kids in the state of California the last 2 years. The last 2 years. As a student of history, I'll tell you this. No governor ever did more to help the kids of California than Pat Brown. And no more has been done to hurt kids than under the governorship of Jerry Brown the last 2 years. That has to be reversed right now. Prop 30 was passed, and I'll tell you, if there's not enough money in there to repair the damage, not only for our schools, but beyond, with a 2/3 majority in both houses, I expect those legislators who are here, joining with other Democrats, to pass further tax increases. You could do it on your own. Tax increases that will hit those making more than $1 million a year. You know, if you raise the income tax 1%, on those making more than $1 million a year, for every 1% you raise it, it's $1 billion more. So if you need $5 billion more to start the healing process and help these kids, raise the income tax on those making more than $1 million a year, 5%. Do it.